This is definitely not the weather to be welding and grinding in, so let's do something fun again. Let's tear the truck apart some more. That's always fun. I think this one's going to go a lot better than old Elmer did. I think the rust isn't quite as bad. So let's get the whole front clip off and the hood off and see what we're dealing with. It took me over a year, but I finally picked up a shop manual. This thing is just loaded with information. I also picked up another Y block. This one's, I think, out of a 58. I think that makes it a 272. And it came with a transmission that has a drum brake, emergency brake kind of built in. I'm not sure what that is. But so now I've got the one that was out of Elmer. That's a 64. The one that's out of 58. I've got a spare 3 on the tree transmission. And I have my good one that I picked up in Colorado that matches the truck. So I've got lots of spare parts now. Also came with another core support, another battery tray, another radiator, and some other miscellaneous bits. All useful stuff. Looking at the manual to remove the fender, there are 2 inside the cab, one on the very bottom, a series of them connecting to the inner fender, one on a little L bracket here, and a series of them that connect to the grille. So there are a series of screws that hold the fender to the inner fender right there. We got this little support brace, and then there's 2 from the inside, in here and in here. One on the bottom that usually gets really rotted out. Lucky for me, mine's not rotted out. And then there are a series that connect to the grille. There are a few that are only really able to get to if you remove the headlight trim. So we'll start there. So the headlight trim comes off really easy, and that exposes the inside headlight bucket. So we'll disconnect all this. Headlight bucket comes out pretty easy as one unit, and then we got to disconnect the wiring. But you can see how in there are 3 or more bolts holding on that fender. In 1960 they changed to an amber turn signal, but I think I like the clear ones better. But these are obviously not even stock. It looks like they were just cut down and they had a hole drilled in them. So we'll need to find replacements for those. Took the wheel off so I could get in here a little better. And you can see there's just a ton of them. They connect to the lower valance here. They connect to the grille here. And they connect to a grille headlight bucket piece right there. So now the concern is, how do I do this without breaking bolts and breaking connectors? That's what I'm really nervous about. Especially these up here. I think they're a captured nut. And they have a tendency to just rip through that stainless. So let's see what happens. I wire wheeled the inside nuts as much as I could. There's just so many of them. I remember when I took Elmer apart and these are all just rusted shut. Everyone broke. It was such a pain in the butt. Hopefully these go a lot better. So these are the ones you can see. And then there's a few hidden up in there and in the grill area. They're just hiding everywhere. As expected, all those little clips are breaking, making the bolts stuck, so I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to get those out. They did not make this easy. Wow, that was kind of a pain in the butt. I basically had to use vice grips to hold all the broken clips on the side, and then the one at the top you can't get to very easy. Usually it was a 9/16 to hold that clip, but that one was a 1/2 inch. But I believe my fender is ready to come off here. I just need to remove that right there. The last bolt right here. I think it's the last bolt. One fender off. I was expecting this to have a lot more rot in it, but I guess not, because there's so much rot on that side. There's a little bit right here, but not very much. Now it's a lot easier to get in here and work. You can see some of the damage in the vent dome here, but it's not too bad, really. Oh, well, boy. That's kind of bad. There must be a lot of debris in there. Yeah, boy, here come the leaves and the rust. I'll suck that all out. Some damage here. And here's the cab support I'm going to have to replace. There's the rot in the floor that has fiberglass on it. What is that? Mud or sealant? 2 days of hard work and sweat, and I got that fender off. Now to do the other one. Did I mention it's hot? It's pretty hot. Finally happened. The tree fell. Landed right on top of the fence. I thought for sure it was going to land that way more. Just barely missed anything important. Pool pump is still running. I don't know if it's leaking from the tree or it just always leaks. I feel like it's always leaking, but these bumpers are probably just at the right spot to keep that limb from smashing our pool pump. It is truly amazing just how difficult some of these bolts are to get out. Alright, there's number 2. Time to work on the grill. I could have taken this whole thing apart as one clip like I did Elmer, but I want to see how it's all put together when you're doing final assembly. So I went the hard way. Now it's time to get the grill off. Quite a few different ones holding the grill pieces together. Some of those were removed when we removed the fender. Okay, there are basically 3 pieces left to the grill here. The upper grill, the lower grill, and the valance. Now I think these are going to be a little bit easier to remove than the fender. So let's see how it goes. It's only held together on a few spots and some clips, but they're pretty easy to access. Okay, all that's left now is the lower grill and the valance. And I didn't realize until now, but this part of the valance is pulled out pretty far. Anyway, I'm trying to decide if I want to disconnect this lower grill with the valance on or separately. This whole time I'm trying to think, how is this assembled? Is the whole grill already assembled and then they screw it on? I'm not sure. I'm looking underneath here, and these bolts that are holding the valance to the core support, you can only get to through that little channel right there, and I believe that means the radiator will need to be out first. So I guess that's my new game plan, is to remove the radiator. Now I'll undo the hoses and the bolts, and hopefully it'll come right out. Come on, man, get out of the way. There we go. I want to be careful, I don't want to ruin this thing. I want to reuse it. Original radiator in mind. I may change my mind on that though. Phoenix isn't exactly the coolest environment, so maybe we'll upgrade to a better radiator. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and remove the horns and the wiring loom that connects on the core support right there, just so I don't forget. Get it out of my way. After looking at this some more, I think I can just remove the whole valance, lower grille, and core support as one unit. I just need to remove it from the inner fenders in a few places, and then I need to remove those big bolts down there. And I think the whole thing will just pop out. The inner fenders are really excited to come off too, but I'm not ready for these guys yet. Anyway, core support is unhooked. Pretty simple. Let's get that out of there. Damn, I still connected to it. Oh, nothing. Little stupid lights are in my way. Ta-da! Alright, core support is out. So is all the other stuff. All I have left are these inner fenders. So I'm going to disconnect the rest of the electronics and the emergency brake cable over there. And then these guys should just come right out. I'm not going to save these rag joints, so I'm just going to make my life easy and cut through this. These are pretty corroded. One inner fender. Okay, I'm going to remove all these electrical bits here. I'm not going to disconnect them because I'm still thinking I'm going to try to start this motor one more time before I take it out. So I'm going to just remove them from the fender itself. Alright, there it is. One exposed engine. I think I'm going to try to get this thing running just to hear it run one more time and then put this aside and save it for another project someday. Lots of damage that needs to be repaired on those vent drains. The amount of dirt that came down is pretty ridiculous. There's all the pieces. I think the best way to put this back together would be to have the whole grille and core support all assembled as one unit and then put on. It seems like the best way. There's a lot of bolts in here that you can't get to, so I still have to disassemble all this, but it's off. Okay, I guess that does it for this video. Next time I'm going to see if I can get that motor running again. Shouldn't be too hard. Then we're going to rip it out of there so we can get started on some of those cab repairs. See you next time. Oh, please leave comments. I love reading comments. Thanks.